My first guest is a fourth-generation farmer, one of the founders of the National Black Farmers Association, a nonprofit organization that represents black farmers and their families. John Boyd, thank you so much for taking the time to join me on Amplified. I just was talking about that massive settlement that happened with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So I actually wanted to start there. What was the USDA doing that thwarted farmers so much over the years? What were those nefarious practices?
Well, the United States Department of Agriculture was discriminating against black farmers and all levels, and going back to sharecroppers and Jim Crow in this country. And we filed lawsuits in just about every state in the South before we were victorious with Judge Freeman in 1999. We settled the first case for roughly $1 billion. And then I spent 10 more years lobbying Congress. And December 8th, 2010, former President Barack Obama signed the Claims Remedy Act of 2010, providing $1.25 billion for roughly 18,000 black farmers. So it's been a very, very long journey for black farmers. And through this whole time, we were losing land and being forced off our land by unfair lending practices by the United States Department of Agriculture. There was hearing after hearing, Congress after Congress, and president after president who turned a deaf ear to the cries of the empty fields of black farmers in this country. So it's been an uphill battle for us.
Take a step back for us, because I know that you bought your first farm when you were 18 years old. And so many people don't really recognize and understand the legacy of black farming outside of when we were enslaved and had no choice but to farm all the land in this country. But there has been, a long history and legacy of black people post the Civil War, throughout Reconstruction and beyond, that have been farming land and that being whittled away. So tell us a little bit about, just the history there and where black farmers have been and where we are now.
Well, it's a long history, and it goes from slavery to where blacks were forced to work the land, and we made cotton king and tobacco gold in the South. We cleaned up the South, and we earned our right to be in this country. We went on to be then sharecroppers in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and survived the horrific laws of Jim Crow. And my daddy and grandfather, my father's name is John Boyd Sr. I hope he's watching this tonight. And he taught me everything I know about farming. And my grandfather, Thomas Boyd, and Lee Robinson, who was a sharecropper. We earned our right to be here. And my grandfather slept with his deed underneath his mattress. That's how important land ownership was to Thomas Boyd. He said the land knows no color. It never mistreated anyone. It never discriminated against anyone. If he had the same opportunity as a white farmer, he can produce just as good a crop as anybody. You can't leave your PhD to your children, but you can leave your poor old raggedy farm to your children. These are things that we were taught, that land ownership is part of the American fabric and history of black people in this country. Every black person in this country is only 2 to 3 generations away from somebody's farm, whether they want to be or not. So long history, and we're very, very proud people. And for the record, we don't want anybody to give us anything. We just want the same as white farmers in this country.
You're right about that. I'm only a generation removed from people from South Carolina. That's where all my people are. And we absolutely came from tilling the land too. I can't help but try to draw a connection for those who are watching right now who don't know a whole lot about farming in America, but maybe watching Queen Sugar and kind of getting a little glimpse just culturally. And as you talk about your father, I think about some of the storyline in that show. You talk about having the deed, sleeping with the deed under the mattress. So much of what has thwarted black land ownership, certainly black farmers, has been that banks, that lenders are in the way of us being able to actually own our own. And this is when the nefarious practices of the U.S. Department of Agriculture kind of help to facilitate and foster a lot of that racism and discrimination that kept us from getting the money to own our land and then being able to buy the tools to actually work that land. So tell us, you know, a little bit about these kind of inequitable loan practices. You learned about those early on. Did you have any experiences with difficulty in getting and keeping your first farm?
Oh, absolutely. And I thought it was just the county supervisor who didn't like me. And I learned that there were just about every black farmer in this county was facing discrimination. He would only see black farmers on Wednesday. We named it Black Wednesday. He referred to us with racial epithets such as the N-word, colored. He wasn't going to lend any of his money. And when they came out to investigate the person at USDA who was responsible for making loans to black farmers, they asked him, did he have a problem making loans to black farmers? And he said, yes. Yes, he did. This person spat on me during a loan application. Oh my God. Tore my application up and tossed it in the trash can. That's the type of discrimination that we experienced in this country. And I spent nearly 30 years trying to get debt relief for black farmers that white farmers got relatively easily. And now white farmers are suing us in federal court, preventing $5 billion in debt relief to black and other farmers of color. And in my 39-year career, I never sued a white farmer asking the courts not to extend credit to them or payments to them. And that's what's wrong with this country. And we have a wedge dropped in the middle of it, and the race relations between blacks and whites in this country have never been so prevalent. Where you see Trump flags and Confederate flags hanging on bonds and on houses. We need racial healing, and we need someone who can bring this country together and instead of white farmers suing us in federal court, they should have said, hey, Boyd, we have a problem with this debt relief measure. Let's talk about it. Instead, they ran to conservative courts and filed those complaints and 12 different complaints in federal courts around the country and blocked the payments to needy black who were waiting patiently for the relief. And for the record and for Black America that's watching this, the problem with black farmers in this country is we have always been told we have to wait. And I'm saying, well, we waited long and we need action.
You know, no dollars can repair the indignities, the just complete erosion of respect that you and so many others have faced from obviously all the white people who are in control of the movement of the money, but from the federal government, from our country generally. I know that first settlement with the USDA, the settlement itself was $2.4 billion. Biden, which you're referring to right now, in March, Biden pledged $4 billion for debt forgiveness for farmers of color. I'm curious, you know, the first question I have for you on that, did people get their reparations? Where is that $2.4 billion, and were black farmers actually paid out by the federal government?
Well, the $4 billion in debt relief is only going out to farmers who are eligible. Those farmers who have guaranteed loans and direct loans at the United States Department of Agriculture. Those are the only black farmers and other farmers of color who will be eligible to get the debt relief. That's the first measure. The $1 billion is for technical assistance and outreach and set up a commission and address this discrimination within the United States Department of Agriculture. I believe that the secretary took a little bit too long there getting the payments out to black farmers. And when Trump was in office and those measures passed Congress to address farmers, they went out within weeks to white farmers. And we should have had the same type of action with black farmers there as well.
So the moral of this story is that we still haven't seen our money in the way that we should. I'm curious, and I'm going to give you the last word on this because I know we're winding down on time, but what do you see as a next step? I mean, in theory, it sounds like this president is trying to make good on the debt, or at least trying to help you all with your debt as a way to say the United States needs to figure out what to do to help. There's a settlement that still needs to be paid out. How do we actually get to the point now where we're right-sizing the situation? What needs to be done? Because the measures are kind of moving, but the money still hasn't. So what's next?
It's real simple. And I did have the opportunity to speak to the president in July 4th during the July 4th holiday. And he committed to having a formal meeting with me. I'm looking forward for President Biden to sit down and listen to the concerns and come up with some sort of action to get the payments to Black and other farmers of color. And for the record, the case wasn't, like I said, it was not reparations, because that's what scares the bejeebers out of white people. It was debt relief, only eligible for those Black farmers and farmers of color who were eligible by direct and guaranteed loans. So I want to be real clear there, so I don't send a message out to workers that everybody's eligible for some sort of debt relief. But I would like to say I'm making a plea again on your show to have a formal meeting with President Joe Biden to sit down and come up with other courses of action and redress for Black farmers. He's the person with the stroke of a pen that can help us. And for white America, white farmers who are suing us, shame on you, and you need to understand history. This case, the debt relief also addressed part of our history that was wronged by Blacks in this country, Black farmers in this country. That's why we were looking at the debt relief. White farmers were getting it the whole time with ease, debt relief, having their loans given people, that's what that means. And Black farmers did not get debt relief. And that's why I spent 30 years trying to get it into settlements. That measure didn't make it in, and that's when I turned to Congress. And we finally got it in under Senator Warnock and Senator Cory Booker's leadership. And now it's being held up where Black farmers can't receive the money. And I'm looking to sit down with President Joe Biden to see what he can do to help us. And for Black America now, we need your help. We're meeting deadlines in federal court, and we need for Black America to step up and make financial contributions to the National Black Farmers Association so we can continue our timely efforts in federal court.
Well, I hope that you get that meeting, and when you do, I will look forward to having you back to talk to us about how that went. Mr. John Boyd, the founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association, thank you so much for coming on Amplified and for sharing, and we will continue to watch all that's happening there. Thank you.